When presence shows up and looks messy,
Mhm.
sometimes that's the most authentic presence there is.
Welcome, my friend, to this final episode in our series, Living as a Portal of Presence, the inner work that changes the outer world. This is your host, Colleen Akiko. In this episode, The Authentic Presence That Allows, we dive deep into the dialogue between our fearful head and our knowing heart. We discuss how to recognize and transform the inner reactions that keep us guarded, exploring the simple yet profound notice, learn, and repeat process. By learning to observe our fears and letting go of judgment, we step fully into our authentic presence, creating an internal space that not only allows for vulnerability and healing, but also broadcasts a real sense of friendliness to the world around us. Stay with me as we unpack the profound power of showing up exactly as you are, and how this single act can be your most courageous step towards being the change. That is such a delicate, beautiful point. We are so interconnected as sunbeams of the same sun. And some of us have realized, oh, we're all unique and the same at the same time. I find that when I get quiet, I have a sense of the presence that was very present before the nightmare and is very present after the nightmare. And here I am somewhere in the middle of the nightmare. And it's the same invitation for all of us that we can, at any moment, at any part of any breath, we can stop and affirm that it is already done. There is a completeness and a wholeness present in us, of which I am like a drop in the ocean, and all of the ocean is in this drop that I am. I can't get that with my head, but I can feel it, even in my body. When I get really quiet, I can feel it. I'm in a lot of stress right now, and the dream that is happening in this day. A little while ago, I happened to be by a blue spruce tree, and I just noticed how the color of it was so vivid and beautiful. And all I did was just kind of stroke the tree. And there was such love in the tree. And where I was feeling depleted, I actually just kind of held that little branch for just a moment. And I felt like, thank you. And had I been totally in my head, I don't think that would have happened.
You might not have even noticed the tree,
Right.
and then we can take it a step further and we can forgive. We can forgive anyone and everyone who has the appearance of being in their wrongdoing. We can recognize they're only chasing rabbits in their sleep. And when they waken,
Yes.
they are the perfect sinless expression of the divine, recognizing that idea of sin or wrongdoingness is only an error in thinking, an error in belief. And so when I get all judgmental, when I make a judgment about someone or something that seems to be out of alignment, I can take a breath and say they're only sleeping. After all, they're only sleeping and they're dreaming.
Yeah.
And they will wake up. And that's a practice. That's a practice for me that takes very clear intention, because it doesn't come naturally. I mean, the thing that comes the most naturally is to judge. And that is the healing that I am still working on for myself. And the world is being called away from that practice in judgment of seeing only differences and not seeing our unity.
Yes. And that's the pattern of our ego, of our mind, is
Yeah.
to find all the things that are wrong. Yeah. And
And label them and do a spreadsheet on it.
I am still just wobbling on this path sometimes because the intensities are so intense at this moment in history. And I do speak out against those things that I see are harmful, are hurting people. In this story, in this dream of chasing rabbits, well, somebody's trapping the rabbits and hurting them. And so I need to check my heart. I need to really deeply check in. And before I write something or, signing petitions or whatever it is that I'm doing, talking, hopefully communicating, I need to know where I'm coming from and why I am doing what I'm doing. Or if I choose not to, why I'm not doing something that I could do. For me, it's a dance. There are some things that I know are not for me to do. And there are some things that I can speak out about and against even, but I don't speak out against them as if they've got control over me or
Power.
they could really hurt me or something. That line of thinking is making me part of the problem. And my heart is for an awakening and a restoring and knowing that this is part of the chasing rabbits, and it's a valuable dream that's helping me experience something that I came here to experience and to know in a deeper way, in a truer way.
Absolutely. And this Sunday coming up, I'll be speaking at the center. And the title of my talk is The Activity of Truth. The Activity of Truth. And so we're going to be having a discussion like we do in a circle with everyone sharing about just what you spoke about. Because it's one thing to recognize that all of this is an illusion or it's a dream, but what good is it for me to isolate myself in a cave on a mountaintop and just withdraw from humanity? No, there is an activity of truth. And if I recognize the truth, I can recognize the appearances of a lack of light, a lack of love, a lack of unity. I recognize those appearances, and what is the activity of truth for me? What am I called to do? So we're going to be talking about that because just what you were saying, when you're signing petitions, when you're speaking, when you are communicating one-on-one or with groups of people, what is the activity of truth?
Yeah.
So you were just saying about checking in and knowing where your heart is. So when you check in and you know your heart is at one with the all that is.
Yes.
You're at one with that. Then there is something that you are called to do.
Yeah.
And we started this conversation, Colleen, this is so perfect. We started it talking about presence. And I think that is the number one answer that we're called to do. We're called to be present. And that presence is a portal. That presence is a portal. It allows the spirit of all that is to be felt and to be experienced, to be recognized, and to bring light into whatever is calling for light. So,
And it occurs to me that those of us who have had a lot of religious conditioning of any type in our lives, we probably have a preset picture in our minds of how it looks to be present. We may think that it looks like a Mona Lisa type of person who's just serene and untroubled and unruffled and whatnot. And my, oh my, I often in these days, when I'm in a small group of people and the presence is being experienced by us, there are often tears. For some people, it's no words, just tears. I remember after a group where you're speaking on Sunday, one woman was talking with me afterwards and she said, I just can't stop. I'm crying and I don't know why I'm crying, but I can't stop. And how beautiful is that? What a wonderful relief. I remember another woman coming up to me and just taking my hands and holding my hands and just looking at me face to face.
Wow.
No words. Her eyes were glassy, like something deep and beautiful is happening. And I don't want to spoil it with any words because it's beyond the words. When we are so knowing that the presence is in us, I am in the presence, we are all infused and loved and carried and held, and here we are, whatever the reaction is. And if we have been constricted for a long time and repressed, the reaction could be, I remember one night I went outside and I had such a strong release. I cried and cried and cried. And then I came in the house and I screamed in my pillow so much screaming that I couldn't talk the next day. I was hoarse. But there was so much bottled up. And
The floodgates opened.
yeah, that's what happened when I connected with the presence at that time in my life. So it's wonderful, isn't it? The myriad of ways, plethora of ways that the presence can show up in emotions, in utter peace, in anger, in ecstatic joy.
Presence could look like a mess.
Yes,
You know,
because
it
we're
could look
only
like a
human.
mess.
Well, I
Yeah.
shouldn't say we're only human. We are fully human.
We are
And
fully human. We are
all of
divinely
those
human.
colors are in our crayon box.
And when presence shows up and looks messy, sometimes that's the most authentic presence there is,
yes,
because we're allowing
yes.
ourselves to be.
Yeah, there's great freedom in that. And when we experience that for the first time, it's unsettling. And yet there's so much peace and such a sense of, yes, finally, at last, beyond what the words can say. After that, it's a little easier, isn't it? To just know, oh, yeah, it's that again. And then when we are in that activity of truth, I love that title, we are embodying more than we can even imagine. That love, that vibration that fills our body and our lives and our choices and our relationships is so mighty and beautiful.
Yeah.
And this is how we change it from a nightmare to a lovely dream.
To heaven on earth.
Yes.
Yes, that's the promise. That is the promise. And we are the portals.
We are the portals.
More power to the portal. Right.
Oh, lovely. Well, I know we have so much more we could talk about, and I'd love to have more conversations, Brenda. And I welcome any of our listeners who may have a question on any part of your story or how they can be part of the groups that you offer. I know some are hybrid, some are in person only, and that your counseling sessions can be in person, or if they're not local, can happen on Zoom.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's so many ways that our connections can happen these days. Yeah.
Indeed.
Is there anything else that might be bubbling up in your heart to share with anyone who might be listening?
Oh, just if there's one thing that the person might take from this conversation, it's really the imagery of recognizing when someone is dreaming. They're just dreaming, because that recognition opens the door for forgiveness. And by forgiveness, that's a whole different subject. But just briefly, I'm not speaking about pardoning someone for their wrongdoings. I'm talking about radical forgiveness, where we recognize that there was never any harm done. They were only chasing rabbits in their dreams.
And that doesn't minimize our pain.
Right? Not, absolutely not.
It just removes the judgment out of the equation.
Right. Exactly.
There's no reason to judge ourselves or judge another person or imagine God judging us.
No.
The judgment is just one of those things that is an illusion, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. You said that really beautifully. And it begins with ourselves, with forgiving ourselves and recognizing that we're doing the best that we can with what we know. And if we've fallen asleep and we're dreaming, we forgive ourselves for that, or whatever it was that we thought we needed to do when we were only sleeping. And and there's grace there.
Yeah. And it all seems to stem from that deep knowing that we are each eternal beings. We are not like the dream that changes from moment to moment, right?
Yeah. Right.
When
Exactly.
we are really resting in that truth, that I am whole and complete, and there is really nothing that can diminish me because I am in the completeness and the wholeness of all that is. And that unnameable is also in me in some way that this brainy brain can't really hold. Yet, when we just stop and settle, we know this is true. And it supersedes all the religions, and it includes all the religions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Yeah.
I think it comes from hanging out with you, Brenda. I like that, Brenda. She's got no small talk. She's just all right on the money. You're pretty fun, too. I love how we can be in a group, whether it's, the Course in Miracles or some other profound group. And it's almost like there will be a small group that is gathered around these thoughts that you have kind of circulated. And rather than being a group of individuals, it's almost like we're one organism all speaking together. And that's so beautiful. And again, it's universal. We've experienced it in groups where people are really aware and deeply grateful for this unifying presence. And doesn't it feel like, for my ego anyway, in this time, for me to feel that with people, my ego self actually feels repulsed by. Honestly, my ego is saying, no way, let me walk on the other side of the street. I don't even want to share the sidewalk with them, And when that type of reaction comes up that strongly, it's like, oh, wow, check this out. It's another intense reaction. Whoa, let me just step back for a minute and observe. I am having a really bad feeling towards that person. I actually noticed that you were talking about your dog. I was noticing that today I was nursing a bad feeling towards what I judged to be an obnoxious dog. And I actually had to take that into my quiet time and say, wow, why do I hate that dog so much? Well, he's obnoxious and he did this and he's doing that and it's not right and blah, 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 blah. So much chatter. And I'm just like one person with this amount of chattering in my small mortal world, my little dream. And how many millions of little dreams are going off like that? And here we are, designed to be walking, talking, peaceful eyes of the hurricane. Here we are.
Indeed. We're all just walking each other home.
Right?
Walking your
home. I love
that. I love that imagery, and it helps me. It helps me when I notice myself having visceral reactions, such as you just described.
I know this is a little off the charts, but really, Colleen, a dog? Come on.
Oh, yeah. If particularly one that's very yappy can have
this
that.
one was actually causing harm to someone that I love.
Yeah.
And yet, when I sat with it, I'm like, well, the dog's doing the best that he can, like you said. He just hadn't received the benefit of good training, and he's feeling very insecure.
Yeah.
So there's enough love for all of us, including dogs who misbehave. Yes, and people.
There's grace.
Even if it's me. Yeah. Enough grace for all of us. Thank you so much, Brenda. If anyone wishes to make connection with you, they could reach out to you through my website, songrise.live, and I will just forward the info to you and you guys can connect.
That'd be lovely.
Yeah, it would.
I love that. Thank you, Colleen.
Yes, thank you too. Big hugs.
Yes.
Thank you for your presence with us. Please share your thoughts. Become a subscriber if you haven't already, and know that you are invited to access bonus content, fresh resources, and a free e-guide, Out of Your Head, Into Your Light, at songrise.live. That's SONGRISE.LIVE. I'm Colleen Akiko, and this is We Be the Change, where we remember that changing the world begins by changing ourselves.